made a video asking you guys for your worst school confessions, but these confessions were so horrifying that I decided to make a part 2. Because somehow, the stories you sent this time feel less like school confessions and more like deleted scenes
from a fever dream.
Like at this point, I'm genuinely starting to believe some of your schools were not even schools at all. They were just social experiments with really bad food and body odor. But before we start, I need to make the same thing very clear that I did last time. These are your stories, not mine. So if something in this video sounds completely unhinged, morally concerning, or like it should be shown to a jury one day, don't look at me. We're starting off with a confession that made me pause for a second after reading it. Not because it was crazy intense, but because I genuinely could not believe a human being was capable of such whimsy and foolishness.
One time, the fire alarm went off at school, and it wasn't a drill. For the first minute, kids were running around like headless chickens. But after looking at the board and probably slightly hungover teachers, everyone realized it probably was not that serious. We all had to sit out in the blazing hot sun for almost an hour while teachers were trying to figure out what happened. There were all these rumors going around about what might have started the fire, but the real reason was way dumber. Turns out, some random kid burnt toast in the bathroom.
First of all, what do you mean toast in the bathroom? Like, I'm sorry, how do you even get to that point in your day? That's not a normal school mistake. That can only happen after waking up and genuinely thinking,
you know what? Today, I'm bringing breakfast into the least appetizing room in the whole world.
I'm just gonna say it. I do not believe for one second that this was just some random kid. No, it was definitely you. Absolutely 120% you. Because if it was really some random kid, how would anybody even know? Did he walk out of the bathroom looking like a Looney Tunes character? Just smelling like butter with 2 pieces of blackened Wonder Bread still in his hand? I doubt it. If I was the kid who burnt toast in a school bathroom, I'm not getting caught. That toaster is gone. I'm flushing it down the toilet. I'm eating the evidence. I'm transferring schools, whatever it takes. Because he, and it's definitely a he, because this is always boys doing dumb stuff like this, but he probably yeeted that double action Walmart toaster through the ceiling and started bush camping like season 1 in Fortnite. So you expect me to believe that somehow whoever did this owned up to their crimes? Or did someone just investigate the situation and figure out what happened like, you know what? I say, Watson, do you notice the smidgen of Nutella on that little chap's face? Arrest him. This confession would have been so much better if you would just admit you're the one who did this. I know you're a little freaky and like eating toast in the bathroom. It's okay to admit it. We all have our vices. That one was just ridiculous, but this next one is evil. Like genuinely serial killer vibes.
A month before graduation, a guy named Hank was named valedictorian of our grade. I was obviously annoyed because he would always call me names and bully me when nobody else was around. But to everyone else, he was basically perfect. Other classmates, teachers, and staff loved him because of his kind personality and the fact he led our school's water polo team to 2 championships. What made it even worse was that his grades weren't even that crazy. He had a B- in 4 classes and a B in the other 2. So when he got named valedictorian, that was the final straw for me. He had to be stopped. Then, a day before graduation, 10 iPads randomly vanished from the tech store next to our school. And since the store had no security cameras or anything like that, I saw it as the perfect opportunity. I made 20 different email addresses and sent 20 different emails accusing Hank of stealing a suitcase full of iPads from the store. The next day, police pulled him out of school, and he didn't get charged anything, but he did lose his valedictorian, and they gave the spot
to the salutatorian instead. What is a salutatorian? Wait, no, it says salutatorian. Oh, I don't even know what that is either.
He also had a water polo scholarship to a college in Oklahoma, and that got revoked the next day too. He's currently in his 3rd year of community college.
There is so much wrong with this story that I genuinely do not even know where to start. Brother, you're talking about the high school valedictorian, not the Joker. The way you said that makes it sound like Hank was in the basement of the school building a machine that turns all the cafeteria milk sour and only you could save the day. But no, this was just some random dude named Hank with decent grades and a passion for a sport designed for seals. I'm sorry, but water polo is such a funny sport to be evil in. To be honest, I think the scariest part of this confession is how relaxed you are. It's just way too casual for some of the most insane things I've ever heard.
So I made 20 different email addresses.
You say it like you're reading a weather update. Like, yep, partly cloudy skies today, 78 degrees. Hank's future is cooked, by the way. If he really was bullying you when nobody was around, yeah, that makes him kind of stink. But there is a massive difference between a guy being mean to you and burning his whole life to the ground. So this leaves me with one conclusion. If I'm ever forced to go back to school and somehow become valedictorian, I'm blocking every single one of you who watch my videos. I can't trust none of y'all. But speaking of fake emails, we're not done yet. And somehow, next, we are still on fake emails. Just just with way less police involvement this time. Somehow, it's even more cruel though. The next confession reads,
one time in middle school, I changed my teacher's computer background to a fake Ellen Show congratulations screen. And then I sent her a fake email saying she'd been selected to appear on the show for being an inspirational educator. She started crying, called the principal over, and they both spent like 20 minutes trying to figure out how to reply before I admitted I made the whole thing in Google Slides and a burner email.
let me get this straight. You made a grown woman believe that Ellen herself had reached out and chosen her to be on the show specifically for being a good teacher? This wasn't like you putting a whoopee cushion on her seat. This is you taking a long, hard look at this poor woman who's probably underpaid because she's a teacher and they're all underpaid, who puts her mental well-being on the line just to educate you and saying, what is the most emotionally devastating lie I could tell this nice lady before lunch? Are we sure this isn't an alt account from the same psychopath that threw sweet innocent Hank under the bus? Or are there just a million different 400 IQ masterminds in my Discord server? Also, why is it always the kindest teachers this happens to? You know for a fact, you did not send this to the mean vice principal with a neck vein, giant calf muscles, and Oakleys. You picked a teacher with feelings. A teacher who probably has little inspirational quote posters in her classroom and says things like,
"You students are the reason I do this job."
and you looked at that woman in the eyes and said, yeah, that's the one I want to prank. Now I'm just thinking, at what point did you decide to confess? When she started crying? Or perhaps when two grown adults were standing over a school computer trying to craft a heartfelt reply to Ellen DeGeneres? Enough emotional terrorism. Let's get back to what school is really about. Children in bathrooms holding mysterious objects from the internet. Confession number 4.
One day at lunch, my friend told me she wanted to show me something. So we went to the bathroom with another girl. She pulled out this weird looking thing and said it was a vape. Smoke was coming out of it, so I believed her. Then she told me she got it from some sketchy online store called Sheen.
Okay, I haven't finished reading yet, but if this vape is actually from Sheen, y'all are cooked.
This made the whole thing even worse. We went back to lunch after that, but about 30 minutes later, we all got called to the office to see the principal because someone snitched. After getting shouted out for a while, the principal realized it actually wasn't a vape, but a sinus inhaler. We still got suspended though.
So this girl pulls out a weird smoking device at school and tells you it's a vape, which is already bad. Then somehow, instead of this story getting less dumb, it just gets worse because later you find out it's from Sheen. Sheen! The same place people buy $4 outfits made of tissue paper from and phone cases that look like they were designed by someone with a concussion. Honestly, serves you right. You tried to be cool and hit a vape, but you just ended up with a ridiculously clear nasal passage. And the principal shouting at you for ages before realizing it wasn't even a vape makes this so much better because that means for a solid chunk of time, they thought they were dealing with nicotine criminals. When really, it was just a bunch of kids in the bathroom passing around a glorified inhaler.
Let me try that. Whoa, that's really good. Is this thing supposed to make me smell in 4K? I can smell like all the dookie in here now.
This situation actually reminds me of when I was younger, and I used to think that anything minty was automatically medicine. So one time, I found this super strong little tin of mints in my house. I ate like 6 of them in one go because they were really good, but then I spent the next 10 minutes pacing around convinced I accidentally overdosed. That was the day I found out what Tic Tacs were. Not to brag, but my breath has never smelled better. After that last confession, I need a story where nobody gets suspended, shouted at, or accidentally decongested.
So one day, someone finally encouraged me to text the girl I like and ask if she wanted to get to know me better. I was pretty nervous, but I asked her if she'd be interested in hanging out and maybe getting kung fu tea later that week. She said yes, and we've been dating ever since. We've been together for 7 months now, and I'm really glad I sent that message. The person who encouraged me to ask her out was Vern. We became friends from the comment section in your videos.
Man, this ain't what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about y'all getting in successful relationships from my channel. When is it gonna be my turn? I ain't even gonna talk about this confession anymore. Let's just move on to the next one.
One time in high school, I lied and told a teacher I knew how to play piano so I could get out of normal class and help with rehearsal for the school talent show. The problem was, I do not play piano at all. At first, I thought I was just going to help move chairs or something, but then the music teacher asked me to fill in for one of the acts during practice because their pianist
Was absent. Okay, I'm sorry. I just learned that a pianist is what you call someone who plays piano. Why did they name it that?
I sat down, played the first 2 notes of Runaway by Kanye West, completely panicked, and then pretended the keyboard was broken. They spent like 15 minutes trying to fix it before another teacher turned it off and back on again and asked me to keep trying. I ended up fake coughing and got sent to the nurse.
Okay, see, this is the kind of lie I can get behind. Not because I can play piano, but because this feels like the exact sort of thing I would have said in school to get out of actually doing work. If you lie and say you're good at Photoshop, maybe you can click around and survive for a bit. Like I've seen people who know nothing nothing about Photoshop, edit me to make it look like I'm in a maid dress. There is a very high chance someone is eventually gonna put you in front of a piano if you say you can do that. Here's confession number 7.
I had a friend who kept skipping school because he said every day was boring. So as a joke, I texted him and told him he missed the craziest day ever. I said 2 teachers got into a screaming match, someone let a chicken loose near the science block, and a ceiling tile fell onto the vice principal's desk. He believed all of it. So the next day, he actually came back to school for the first time in ages. The problem is, he still thinks that day really happened because every time he brings it up, I just change the subject.
You should be leading a Dungeons and Dragons game with this type of lore building ability. This guy now thinks that he missed your school's World War II. Like to him, Chicken Day was a historical event. He probably separates his life into before and after the vice principal desk incident. And I love that every time he brings it up, you just change the subject. It's like, cool, he's learned his lesson. It's good he's back in school. But at this point, you're just focused on protecting the lie. One day, you're both gonna be 43 years old at some barbecue, and he's gonna be like,
Bro, you remember when that chicken got loose at school?
and you're gonna be there flipping a burger like,
Greg, that never happened.
and how long did it take for you to come up with all these plot lines? Like, you should be writing for Netflix in the future. Okay, we need more heat. Let's add a chicken. We need Greg to be invested. What else can we add, guys? My advice, you need to come clean. Eventually, your friend's gonna find out. And after that, he'll probably never show up to anything again. Weddings, funerals, the birth of his first child. But finally, we are leaving the world of school legends and entering something much darker. A bored girl with access to somebody else's love life.
One time, I told my friend that this guy liked her because I was bored and I thought it would be funny. At first, she didn't really believe me, but I kept encouraging her to talk to him, and eventually, she did. Now, they've been together for over a year, and I barely see her anymore because she's always with him. So I basically set my friend up with her boyfriend and accidentally got myself
Replaced. I'm really bored right now. What should I do? Oh, I know. Let me just interfere with somebody else's love life for my own entertainment. You got what was coming with that one, buddy. Because over a year later, now your day one is gone. Like, I know when you first tried setting these people up, you were probably not thinking, yeah, this will definitely lead to a long-term committed relationship and the rapid destruction of my friendship. Nah, you were probably expecting like 3 awkward texts, maybe a failed talking stage, and then everybody moves on. There are probably people watching this who have spent months trying to help their friends get into relationships. They're giving advice, hyping them up, coaching texts, and you did it on accident. So I guess congratulations, you successfully turned one random joke into a year-long relationship and your own friendship declined. Hey, at least you'll have a fun story for the wedding, if you even get invited. I was gonna say the next confession is lighter, but that feels disrespectful because it involves a funeral. So you might wanna grab a tissue for this heartbreaking tale.
One time in school, I found a dead fly in the windowsill and, for some reason, decided to give it a full funeral during lunch behind the science block. And halfway through the ceremony, a teacher walked past and thought we were doing witchcraft.
I don't know why, but the part I'm most focused on is how you got 3 other people involved. Because with one other person, okay, maybe you're just weird. Now this fly had a community. It's as if this fly impacted people's personal lives. I'm just imagining the full scene. One kid's holding the body, one kid's holding the cross, one kid's probably singing, and one of you is trying to deliver a eulogy through laughter like, we all knew him in very different ways. No, actually, you didn't. You did not know the fly. He was literally on a windowsill 5 minutes ago. I wouldn't even blame y'all if you cried, though. I've cried over much more embarrassing things. You ever seen the movie Boss Baby?
I think I just watched the most emotional, amazing movie ever created, and now I can't stop crying.
It gets me every time. I can't even roast this too hard because this is exactly the kind of dumb, emotional nonsense kids do at school when they have too much time and not enough adult supervision. It's funny how kids do the most random things like this all because they don't know what to do with their free time. Like if I was still a kid, I would have loved to do this. This sounds fun. But now, unfortunately, I'm older and I have to take care of things like my butt hair and taxes. To the Flies family, my condolences. Rest in peace, little bro.
Rest in peace, my granny, she got hit by.
We've done funerals. Now, let's get back to a topic that summed up most of my time in school.
So once, during a presentation one time, I farted. But I quickly realized it wasn't just a fart. It was much, much more.
Is that it? Is that the whole confession? I'm not gonna lie. This reminded me of this weird German exchange kid my school had for like 2 weeks. I swear, this dude looked like 34 years old. He had perfect posture and he carried himself like he'd already been through 2 divorces. I never saw that man smile once. He just walked around with this 1,000-yard stare like he'd seen things. And one day, he was doing some little presentation presentation at the front of class, but he stopped mid-sentence, went completely still, started shaking his head like he was just being told something in his ear, and then he just said, "I must leave now." I never saw that man again. To this day, I don't know if he just pooped his pants during his presentation, but in my heart, I think that's what happened. That's what your confession has done to me. I'm curious though, did you just continue the presentation like nothing happened? Or did you run away in shame because brown stains were probably starting to go down your leg? Because personally, if that happened to me, the presentation is over. I'm exchanging one final look with the teacher. I'll give her a nod like, I have to do this. And I'm leaving the classroom and never coming back like the German kid did. Honestly, I respect that now. I know why he did what he did. Let's leave the extreme farting there for now, because the next confession has a plan, a clipboard, a sweet tooth, and way too much confidence.
One time in middle school, me and my friend figured out that if we walked into the cafeteria wearing lanyards and holding clipboards, nobody would question us. So for like 2 weeks, we kept sneaking in 20 minutes before lunch started and eating all the fresh cookies before anyone else got there. Eventually, a lunch lady asked who we were, and I panicked and said we were there doing a temperature check. She just stared at us and said, "A temperature check on the cookies?" We got banned from the cafeteria for 3 days.
What do you mean you got banned from the cafeteria for 3 days? Were you just not allowed to eat lunch anymore? But I love that this whole master plan was not to steal test answers, not to break into the office, not to pull some huge prank. You used your criminal talents for fresh cookies. And absolutely nobody believes you just casually strolled into the cafeteria like two normal employees. I'm just picturing in my head what this looked like, and I imagine two middle schoolers with lanyards on that look nothing like employees. You've got fake mustaches drawn on you, and you're standing there trying to look like grown men when you have a Minecraft backpack on you. I do love this idea though, because I don't know why, school cookies were always the best. Any other food? Awful. Don't eat it. But the cookies? They put all their efforts into making those. The crazy thing is this plan worked for a little bit. Like, you guys should take these talents elsewhere. I could just imagine the Eiffel Tower going missing one day, and when they release the CCTV footage, and it's just these two people with a painted on French mustache and a suspiciously Eiffel Tower shaped backpack. To be honest, I still can't understand why you guys got banned from the cafeteria. Like, was your punishment just getting starved? You were already sniffing fresh cookies in elaborate disguises when you had access to food, so taking it away is not gonna make your sick compulsions go away too. So we've got cookie fraud. You guys love committing crimes for some reason. So of course, the next one is also a crime. We're talking full-on smuggling, and this story happens in the outside world. The place where none of us go. The one place you wanna be when you're actually in school. It's like when a prisoner gets their time outside, but here's the confession.
One time in school, me and my friend found out the side door by the gym didn't latch properly. So for like a month, we kept leaving during lunch, walking to the corner store and coming back with slushies like we were Navy SEALs returning from a mission. We only got caught because one day, my friend came back carrying a full family-sized bag of Doritos and tried to hide it under his blazer like he was smuggling diamonds.
A whole month? So this wasn't even sneaking out anymore. This was just your new lifestyle. And the fact that you were wearing blazers tells me you're definitely at a private school, which means you guys were splashing the cash. Like, y'all were probably rich. I just know there was a tear of joy in the eye of the worker every time you walked into that store. Just the two of you waddling back into school, getting ready for your daily mukbang. And no one was ever suspicious of it. There wasn't a teacher that would be like, why is their rib cage 5 times bigger today? What could they possibly be hiding under their blazer? They just didn't pay attention to that, or what? If your friend didn't get so greedy, you could have kept this going all year. It started with, hey, let's just grab a drink. Then 2 weeks later, one of you is trying to sneak back in with 12 tacos, a melted Snickers, and a look in your eye that you no longer fear authority or type 2 diabetes. There's no mention of sharing either. Like, where did you even eat this stuff? Sneaking off to a little quiet corner with your bellies rumbling because you haven't had 2,000 calories of straight junk food in the last 60 seconds? Dang, now I'm getting kind of hungry. We'll do one final confession. Now, this one is not evil, it's not dangerous, it's just painfully awkward. Here it is.
One time in school, I used the disabled bathroom because the normal one was disgusting and I wanted it for myself. The problem is, right as I came out, my crush was walking past. So for some reason, instead of just acting normal, I panicked and immediately started apologizing to her like I just committed a war crime. She looked so confused and I just kept saying sorry until I walked away.
At least you didn't pretend to be disabled, because that is where I thought this was going for a second. And I was about to have to stop the video right there and just sit in silence. Now, obviously, yes, if there's actually a disabled person waiting, don't use their bathroom. That's just insane. But also, I'm not gonna sit here and act like the disabled bathroom isn't magical. It just is. There's so much space, so much freedom, so much peace. You walk in there and suddenly you're not even using the bathroom anymore. You're having a spiritual experience. This is the kind of bathroom where you could sit down on the toilet and scroll for a while. You're not trying to get in and get out as quickly as possible. You could sit in there and think about your future, your career, marriage, anything. The regular school bathroom feels like a prison. It's awful in every single way. But what I do not get about this story is why, when the second your crush walked by, you started apologizing. Because now instead of just seeing you leave a bathroom, she's watching you emerge from it like a nervous Victorian child going, sorry, I'm so sorry. And for what? Now she just has to assume the absolute worst about you. Also, a little public service announcement. If you are ever in one of these bathrooms, do not pull the emergency assistance cord thinking it's the light. Because now you're not just having a private moment in the luxury suite. Now, instead, you have to explain that, no, you're actually completely fine. You just got too relaxed in the penthouse and started pressing things. But hey, who doesn't like a little bit of extra attention? And am I saying this because I accidentally pulled that cord one time? I am. But what I've learned from all these confessions and the many more you guys sent in that were somehow even worse is that you're psychopaths. You are scary. And honestly, I think that's why we work so well together, because we're like the same person. Virtually though. Please stay far away from me in real life.